Hey, good morning. We haven't officially met. My name's Miss Henning. My room is A220, so I put together just a little test review to kind of go through with you before you do your quiz. Welcome to my living room because I'm currently on quarantine. I'll be back next week, but if you ever need help, my door is always open. So, I'm not sure who you have for Algebra 2. I do teach Algebra 2, so everybody does it a little bit different. So hopefully you like my way. If you don't, you can do it your way too. Okay, so I will ask you, so I'm going to go through and do all of the odd ones first, okay? And then I want you to try to do some of the even ones. Do whichever ones you want, okay? And then I'll send the answer key and I'll make another video for the other side. So that way, like, if you got something wrong and you check the answer key and you got it wrong, at least you could see the steps to where you went wrong, okay? But hopefully after today, you get a good concept for it. So, these are all solving equations. Let me make sure you can see my TV okay. So, solving equations, the whole goal here is obviously to solve for x. However, getting some stuff together in groups is sometimes the hardest part, okay? So, a couple of notes, and I don't want to say memorize, but you kind of do need to memorize. So, we talk about opposites a lot in my room. So, when we think of opposites, a coin, for example. So, you either have heads or tails, okay? You either have a left hand or a right hand. You're either right or you're wrong. You either have money or you don't, okay? There are opposites in math just like that, okay? So, one group of opposites, okay? One group of opposites is going to be division and multiplication. They're opposites, okay? They're buddies, okay? The other group is going to be, we can say, this is, okay, group 1, and we got group 2, okay? And the only other operations that we have left is addition and subtraction, okay? So when we're trying to solve, you really have to know the opposites in order to be successful, okay? And the only other thing that I preach about is where you put the letters, because students have a tendency to start moving x's over here, and then they put an x over here, and then before you know it, you're just moving them back and forth, okay? So, the easiest way I found is that the letter goes on the left, okay? So, left and letter, if you're looking at an equation, okay, you have a left side, and there's always an equal, and then there's a right side, okay? L kind of matches with letters, so letters go on the left. Anything with a letter, for example, 4x, okay, right here is your indicator as far as left and right, okay? So all the letters go on the left, all the numbers with no letters go on the right, okay? So, start by just looking at the left side. Is there anything in this group, okay, because this is the left side, that is just a number, because we only want letters on the left. And if the answer is yes, then that means they need to be moved over to the other side. Okay, so the plus 3, there's no letter with it, so it needs to be over. And we need to look at our group. Well, what's the opposite of plus 3? It's going to be minus 3. Okay, and if you do it to one side, you have to do it to the other side. Okay, so these can cancel. Now, you can rewrite your equation all over again down below if you want to. Or you can kind of leave it and just add on and then add the stuff together, okay? So, the letter stays here. Okay, now let's keep looking. Oh, well, I have another number. It has no letter, so it needs to move. It's a plus 2, so it should be a minus 2. If we do it to one side, we have to do it to the other side. Okay, so far this is looking good. On the left, I only have letters left, okay? I have a 4x. Now we're going to start looking over on the right. Okay, we start looking at the 13. Is that a letter or just a number? Well, it's just a number, so it goes on the right. Okay, now we got a minus 2x. Well, that has a letter, so it needs to be moved over. So we're going to say plus 2x, because we got to do the opposite. And if we do it to one side, we got to do it to the other side. So, over here, and I'm going to drop the 4x down, plus 2x. Okay, so these cancel. Okay, and then keep going down the line. I got a plus 5x. Well, it shouldn't be there, so now I gotta move it, so I gotta say minus 5x. Minus 5x. Okay? So now all of my letters are on one side and all of my numbers are on another side. So I got 13 minus 3 minus 2. Okay, and the more we do this, the faster you'll get at it, and you don't have to do it so, I don't want to say sloppy, but kind of. Okay, so now we can combine all of our ones with a letter together and all of our ones with just numbers together. So I got a 4x plus 2x minus 5x. Well, 4 plus 2 is going to give me 6x. So for this little part, I'm going to get 6x minus 5x because I haven't used that yet. Okay, and I'm just going to write this other stuff down because I haven't done anything with it. Okay, now I got a 6x minus 5x is just going to be just 1x. Okay, and now we can start with the other side. And honestly, if you just want to use a calculator and do it all at once, do it. Okay, your calculator is your friend. So you could say 13 minus 2 minus 3 on your calculator, and it should spit you out a number. Okay, so 13 minus 3, you're going to get 10. And we're going to drop that 2 down, minus 2, because we haven't used it yet. Okay, 10 minus 2 is just 8. So I got 1x equals 8. Now, once you get them down to single digits where you just have a number and a variable equals some number, okay, now we're ready to use that multiplication division. So you're always just going to be using that addition and subtraction first, and then we can use that multiplication and division. When something is right next to something, it means multiply. So this is really saying 1 times x equals 8, okay? And 1 times x is the same as just x, but I'm just going to go ahead and show you. Okay, so 1 times x, what's the opposite of times? Okay, well, if we look at our groups, okay, multiplication and division go together. So that means I need to divide by 1. Divide by 1. Because if I do it to one side, I got to do it to the other side. So these cancel, and I'm left with 8 divided by 1, because a fraction bar means divide. So 8 divided by 1 is 8. Okay? Okay, the next one, same thing. We're going to get all of our letters to the left. Letters go left, and all the numbers to the right. So, start looking at it. Okay, is this a letter or a number? It's a letter, so it's going to stay there. Okay, is this a letter or just a number? It's a number, so it needs to move. It's a plus 1, so in order for us to move it, we got to do the opposite. So it needs to be minus 1. Okay, so minus 1. If we do it to one side, we got to do it to the other side. So minus 1. And some people do it like this, and I'm going to show you right now. So they'll just say minus 1 underneath, and then draw a line, okay, and cancel those and say, well, 8 plus 8 minus 1 is 7. And I'm not trying to confuse you, but I don't want you to think that you have to write it that way, okay? Okay, so, but then when up here we had multiple numbers on the same, okay, it can sometimes get confusing and it's a lot more work, but I'll do it both ways. You can do it whatever way you want to. Okay, so now let's look at the left side. Do we have any just numbers? Nope. Okay, so now let's look at our right side. Our right side should only have numbers. So our first one is a 4v. Okay, and if it's right next to an equal sign, you can't see it there, but there's really a magical plus sign. Okay, so right now it's plus 4v, so in order for us to move it, we need to say minus 4v. If we do it to one side, we have to do it to the other side, so minus 4v. Okay, well, 3 minus 4 is going to be negative 1v equals 7. Okay, so now I have all of my things with a letter on the left and all of my just numbers on the right. So now I'm ready to divide. Okay, divide is always going to be your last step. Divide is always, always, always going to be your last step. No matter what the problem is, division is going to be your last step. Okay, so right now it says negative 1 times v, so times, I need to do the opposite and say divide. Divide by negative 1. If I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other side. Okay, so over here, those negative 1's cancel, and I'm left with v. Well, 7 divided by negative 1, and use your calculator, okay? Use your calculator. It's your friend, use your calculator. So 7 divided by negative 1 is negative 7. Okay, look at number 5. So number 5, so some people combine all these at the same time. So they they would go through and combine all the numbers together and combine all the letters together at the same time. You totally can do that. It's almost a lot less work, but it can be a little bit more confusing. So if we do that, okay, I have a negative 5n plus a 2n. So negative 5 plus 2 is going to give me negative 3n. Negative 3n on this side. Okay, that's what I got from this stuff. Okay, and on this side, well, what can we combine on the right side? Well, I have a 3n, I can't combine with that one, and I have a negative 8n. So I could combine those two to give me a negative 5n. Okay, and what else? So I've used this one, I've used this one, I've used this one, I've used this one. Okay, so the only thing I have left is just numbers. So I have a positive 8 and a positive 4 to give me a positive 12. Okay, so now go back through. Are all just letters on the left side? Let's look at the left side. So right now, the left side, I only have just letters. Okay, cool. Now let's look at the right side. Okay, the right side should only have numbers on it. Well, right here I have a letter. Okay, so I need to move that letter. So right now it's a minus 5. So we need to do the opposite, which is going to be a plus 5. And if I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other side. So plus 5n. Those ones are going to cancel. So negative 3 plus 5 is going to be positive 2 equals 12, because 12 is the only thing. And now it looks like what it should. We have letters on the left and numbers on the right. Okay, now we're down to our very last step, and our very last step is always going to be to divide. So 2 times n, you need to do the opposite, so 2 divided, divided by 2. Okay, these 2's cancel, that way you're just left with n. And 2 divided by 12, fraction bar means divide. 2 divided by 12 is going to be 6. Sky, knock it off. Sorry, I got a dog.